I'll bring in my guest, Engineer Michael Kamau, the NHIF Chairperson. Asante sana for making time, Engineer. Let's start off right where the Kenyans were reacting from. The President is now suggesting an increase of 2.75% deductions for NHIF from gross salary. But NHIF has been riddled with corruption. Is this even the right time to talk about increasing deductions while you haven't cleaned up your own house?
Now, the rule of average, 2.75 is not an increase. Tell anybody who works for Citizen and is paid less than 35,000 to bring their pay slip. And you find that people below 35,000 bob, some of them were even paying up to 5%. 5% of their salary. So there was no equity. Anybody earning 100,000 and above was paying 1,700, 1,700. So if you're earning 100,000, you pay 1,700. If you're earning 200,000, you pay 1,700. If you're earning 500,000, you pay 1,700. On average, there are 385,000 people on our database who are paying 1,700, and that works out to an average of 1.12% of their salary. So those people were actually, they are being carried by the low-income earners.
Yeah.
And therefore, how do you create equity? The only way you can create equity is to bring in a percentage. So when we worked all the averages, then we averaged it to 2.5. All the total receipts, that is what would bring 2.75%.
Okay.
And it actually reduced what the people below 35,000 were paying.
Okay, but the question is, have you dealt with the corruption in NHIF before you even demand for payments coming through?
Corruption in NHIF is an ongoing issue. It is something that must be cleared today, 1st of January up to 31st of December. It is a daily exercise. And our endeavor now is to continue improving. And I've said government is like a baton. You pick it, you work hard to improve the services. But I think at NHIF, we are gotten to a turning point where we are going to improve our ICT services, some of them which are easily manipulated. Corruption, we have started a lot of dialogue with hospitals who are also culprits. Doctors are culprits. People within NHIF are culprits. And generally, medical fraud is a world-known phenomenon. We are not saying we are like the rest of the world. In US, I have data of serious medical fraud. I think within the COVID, you saw the people who had claimed billions, claiming that they had treated people. On average here, the risk, even for the commercial insurances, I was talking to some of the executives, is up to 35%. False claims. That means if you paid claims without checking them, 35% of all claims would be fake. Because basically people feel like if you have paid an insurance cover, say of about 100,000, it's the end of the year, and you have not done anything, you have not fallen sick, it's like you have a right to reclaim. And you find even hospitals who are inducing people, they induce demand so that they can get their money back. So corruption and insurance fraud is a continuous fight. And I think at NHIF, I can say this. I have received sufficient instructions from the appointing authority on how to tackle this issue. And we are starting with it in terms of technology and bringing in a host of new management. Tomorrow we advertise for post of CEO and 6 directors. It will be in the newspapers after a failed attempt.
How much are you losing to corruption, do you estimate? You say 35%, so how much is that in
That is even figures? No, it's not the loss, it's the risk.
Yeah.
If you did not check the insurance claims, you would lose at least up to 35%.
Okay.
In our case, I think it should be in that, or probably we have about 40% of false claims from hospitals.
40% false claims?
About 40%, which we reduce through verification. So, but we still get losses. So they could be anywhere, below maybe, I don't have an exact figure.
Yeah.
But in a recent exercise that was carried out about 1 year ago, we had claims of about 4.5 billion. And when they were subjected to verification, they found out that about 60% of those claims were fraudulent.
Were false.
Yeah.
But what did you do about it? Because until the last week, it's when we here at Citizen exposed that there was some fraud in Meru, for example. But we never heard you talk about this.
No, you see, it's a continuous process. It's like suspension of staff. If you come to NHIF, you are going to find staff who have been suspended, staff who have been interdicted. The ones we added onto that list were just an additional group. If you come, there are hospitals from whom we are recovering money after an audit has been done. Some of it may be attempted fraud. Others could be pure cases of people over-claiming and the system running rogue. So it's not something that we do, or if you do another expose, let me tell you, that was only in Meru and elsewhere. If you go to Mombasa and you stuck in a hospital and followed on a daily basis, you are most likely going to expose a scandal. It's like that. It's prevalent.
So your greatest area of concern is in Mombasa? Is that the greatest?
No, not Mombasa. Yeah. I'm just giving you areas. If you are to go say, I'm saying they were just...
Where are the biggest culprits?
Nairobi, because 30% of our claims actually come from Nairobi. For example, let me give you the example of Meru. Meru, what happened in Meru and Gobo, nothing was captured within our system because no money and no NHIF card was actually used in Meru. Those people are picked. They had the x-rays done without any claims in Meru and brought to Nairobi. So their cards started being used here in Nairobi. So Nairobi is the biggest catchment, at least over 30% of our payouts. About a third of all our payouts are in Nairobi. So we should put a lot of effort here in Nairobi if we are going to stem corruption.
All right. Engineer, stay with me. We are coming back to continue this conversation.